Have you ever wondered what truly separates the wealthy from everyone else? Take a moment right now and think about what you believe is holding you back from financial freedom. I'm a multi-millionaire not once, but several times over. And here's what might surprise you. I reached this level of wealth through principles that are accessible to you watching this right now. For decades, I've worked as a professional financial advisor, and during that time, I've not only helped countless clients build wealth, I've applied these same strategies to my own life with remarkable results. Go ahead and grab something to take notes with, because what I'm about to share is worth far more than the time you'll spend watching this video. Throughout my years in the financial trenches, I've filtered through mountains of advice. Some brilliant, some mediocre, and some downright dangerous. I've tested theories, implemented strategies, and developed powerful approaches that consistently work. What would change in your life if you could follow a clear, proven path to wealth? Type "ready" in the comments if you're committed to transforming your financial future. In the next few minutes, I'll share the absolute best financial principles I've discovered. Straightforward strategies that, when followed consistently, will positively transform your relationship with money and set you on the path to lasting wealth. Let me ask you something. What was your first experience with money? Drop it in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious. For me, I was just 10 years old when I started cutting neighborhood lawns, hungry for cash beyond my small weekly allowance. And here's the moment that changed everything. Instead of letting me blow that first hard-earned dollar, my mother immediately marched me to the local bank to open my very first savings account. That small passbook became my first step toward financial independence. Now, pause this video for a moment and honestly ask yourself, are you currently spending less than you earn? Be brutally honest with yourself here. 5 decades later, after building multiple millions in wealth, the foundation of my financial success remains remarkably simple. I still ensure something goes into savings from every single paycheck, and I religiously follow the principle of sending out less money than what comes in. Has life thrown financial curveballs my way? Absolutely. There have been months, even years, when this fundamental rule proved challenging to follow. We all face those seasons, but here's the unvarnished truth that no flashy investment strategy can overcome. Building wealth each month is as straightforward as spending less than you earn, and slipping into financial decline is as predictable as consistently spending more than you make. If you're currently living paycheck to paycheck, hit the like button. I want you to know you're not alone, and more importantly, this principle is your first step toward changing that reality. Quick question for you. How much debt are you carrying right now? Don't just think about it. Actually visualize that number floating above your head as we speak. Uncomfortable, isn't it? Society has normalized debt as if it's just another feature of adult life. We've created elaborate categories like good debt versus bad debt. Financial experts write countless books dissecting debt as though it's some complex economic puzzle requiring advanced degrees to understand. But let me cut through all that noise with a simple truth. Debt isn't complicated. When you pay money to temporarily use someone else's money, you become poorer. Period. When you charge money to let others temporarily use your money, you become richer. Simple. Take a second right now to think about your most recent purchase using credit. Was it absolutely necessary? Let's be honest with ourselves here. The reality is, there are only 2 legitimate scenarios where taking on debt makes any financial sense. First, in genuine survival situations when you have no other choice. Second, when you can mathematically prove you'll earn more from what you're financing than what you'll pay in interest costs. That's it. No exceptions, no clever loopholes. Tap the screen right now if you've ever justified a purchase with "I deserve it" while putting it on credit. I see you, because I've been there too. Here's your financial North Star. Unless borrowing is ultimately going to make you wealthier, walk away. Every single time, your future millionaire self will thank you for this discipline. Cast your mind back to the most recent market crash. What did you do? Did you panic sell, freeze up, or, be honest, did you see opportunity? Share your experience in the comments below. The wealthy don't just cash in during economic booms. That's merely when they harvest the seeds planted long before. Their fortunes weren't built in sunshine, they were forged in storms. True wealth creation happens when you're zigging while the masses zag. When unemployment figures are climbing, when markets are bleeding red, when headlines scream disaster, and when your instincts are begging you to run for safety. That precise moment of maximum fear, that's your cue to step forward, not back. Take a moment right now and rate your investor courage on a scale of 1 to 10. Would you buy when blood is in the streets? Or would you join the stampede? Our economy's cyclical nature guarantees downturns as reliably as seasons change. And human psychology ensures that most people will freeze when these winters arrive. But here's where you diverge from the herd. These downturns aren't disasters. They're discounts you've been patiently saving for. Think about it. Every single major market decline in history has eventually recovered and reached new heights. Every single one. Tap the like button if you're committed to being brave when others cower. Now, let me be crystal clear. If you genuinely believe civilization is collapsing, then yes, invest in canned goods and security. But if what we're experiencing is just another turn of the economic wheel, and it almost always is, then this is your rare moment of opportunity. As Warren Buffett, a man who built billions through disciplined investing, famously said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." Ask yourself right now, what would your financial life look like if you had invested heavily during the last major downturn? Write opportunity in the comments if you're ready to recognize the next one. Have you ever noticed that person with the designer watch and luxury car who somehow always seems stressed about money? What do you think their bank account actually looks like? During my years as a Wall Street investment advisor, I discovered a counterintuitive truth. The truly wealthy rarely advertise their financial status through flashy possessions. They simply don't need to. So who exactly are these characters sporting $5,000 suits and maneuvering $100,000 cars through traffic? In my experience, they're usually not the millionaires. They're the people selling products and services to millionaires. Think about that for a moment. Who's actually building wealth in that scenario? When was the last time you made a purchase specifically to impress others? Be honest with yourself. I personally can't remember the last time I put on an expensive suit. Despite having the means to purchase virtually any vehicle, I've never bought a new car. And here's something that might surprise you. I live in a home valued at roughly 1/3 of what my financial position would allow me to afford. Does this mean I'm depriving myself? Or am I playing a different game entirely? Ask yourself, would you rather drive a luxury car with a leased badge of honor, or build a 7-figure investment portfolio that nobody sees? The choice quite literally determines your financial future. Here's the unvarnished truth. Every dollar you funnel into depreciating status symbols, whether it's designer clothes, extravagant vacations, the latest tech gadgets, or houses that stretch your budget, is a dollar that can't compound and grow over time. These choices might make you appear wealthy today, but they systematically prevent you from actually becoming wealthy tomorrow. What's one status purchase you've been considering that you might reconsider after this video? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to see your reflections. If you suddenly discovered you had just 24 hours left to live, what would you regret not doing? Take a moment to truly consider this. Life is fragile and unpredictable, a truth we often acknowledge but rarely internalize. Each sunrise brings no guarantees for another. This reality should inspire you to extract every ounce of joy, meaning, and experience from each day you're fortunate enough to receive. Pursue your passions. Tell people you love them. Take that risk you've been contemplating. But here's where wisdom enters the equation. While embracing life's fragility, you must simultaneously plan as though you'll outlive everyone in your family tree. Have you ever calculated how much money you'll need if you live to be 95? The number might shock you. The statistical truth is that while tomorrow isn't guaranteed, most of us will wake up to thousands of tomorrows. The same fervor with which you embrace today should be matched by the discipline with which you prepare for your future days. What's one experience you've been postponing until retirement that you could scale down and enjoy this month? Share it in the comments below. This balanced approach isn't about choosing between living fully now or securing your future. It's about doing both simultaneously. It's the difference between a life of momentary pleasures followed by years of struggle versus a life of sustainable joy that can last decades. Ask yourself, are you currently sacrificing too much present happiness for future security? Or are you mortgaging your future comfort for present indulgences? Finding your personal equilibrium is essential. When you invest consistently while still making room for life's meaningful experiences, you're honoring both your present self and your future self. That's not just smart finance, it's enlightened living. Have you found your balance between living for today and preparing for tomorrow? Give yourself a rating from 1 to 10 in the comments. I'm curious where you stand. Before I reveal these pathways to wealth, take a moment to consider, which route do you think most millionaires actually took to build their fortunes? Write your guess in the comments. After decades of studying wealth creation and working with countless successful individuals, I've identified that there are precisely 6 ways to become wealthy. No more, no less. Every fortune in history has been built through one or more of these channels. 1. Marry money. Yes, it's been a wealth strategy since ancient times. The question is this path aligned with your values and life goals? Inherit money. Family wealth can give you a tremendous head start. But what if you weren't born into privilege? Don't worry, there are 4 more options. 3. Exploit a unique talent. Think elite athletes, artists, or specialized experts. Ask yourself, what skill do you possess that others might consider extraordinary? Get exceedingly lucky. Win the lottery. Find yourself early at a rocket ship startup with valuable equity. Discover oil in your backyard. But ask yourself honestly, are you building a financial strategy around luck? Own or lead a successful business. Have you ever considered that most of the wealthiest people in the world chose this path? What business opportunities might be within your reach? 6. Spend less than you make and invest your savings wisely over long periods of time. The unsexy, guaranteed path that's available to virtually everyone. Here's the wealth-building secret most people miss. Even while you're pursuing any of the first 5 paths, implementing the 6th one simultaneously ensures you'll become wealthy eventually. It's your financial insurance policy. Which of these 6 paths are you currently focused on? Tap the like button if you're committed to path number 6, regardless of which others you're pursuing. Let me ask you this. If paths 1 through 5 didn't work out for you, how much would you have accumulated through path 6 over the past 5 years? Think about that number for a moment. Now imagine where you'd be in 10, 20, or 30 years following that same principle. Remember, While the media glorifies overnight success stories, the majority of millionaires built their wealth through the consistent application of principle number 6, often while simultaneously pursuing one of the other paths. Drop a 6 in the comments if you're ready to commit to the guaranteed path to wealth, regardless of which other routes you're exploring. Whether it's money, love, or life in general, if you want meaningful rewards, you have to embrace risk. Think about it for a moment. What was the last significant risk you took? How did it change your life? When it comes to finances, taking risks means investing in assets that can fluctuate in value, stocks, real estate, or perhaps your own business venture. Can you navigate through life avoiding risks entirely? Of course you can, but as my father wisely pointed out, you'll never get a hit from the dugout. How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you were too comfortable staying safe? Here's the reality. Investments with higher risk potential typically offer greater returns, and that additional yield can dramatically transform the size of your nest egg. Consider this. If you commit to investing $200 monthly over 3 decades with a 12% annual return, you'll accumulate hundreds of thousands of dollars more in retirement savings compared to the same investment earning a mere 2% per year. The difference is staggering, isn't it? Taking calculated risks is what separates building wealth from merely getting by. It's the dividing line between financial freedom and financial limitation. However, let me be clear, making impulsive, risky bets isn't investing. It's gambling. The key is to take measured risks. Have you developed your strategy for balancing risk and reward? You can minimize your exposure by conducting thorough research before investing, diversifying your portfolio across different assets, and learning valuable lessons from your mistakes. Better yet, absorb wisdom from others who've already made those errors so you don't have to experience them firsthand. What's one investing lesson you've learned that changed your approach forever? Remember, in the pursuit of success, the riskiest move might be taking no risk at all. If you need surgery, entrusting your fate to a medical professional is unavoidable. But when it comes to your money, never surrender complete control to anyone else, no matter how qualified they appear. Have you ever found yourself blindly following financial advice without understanding it? Seeking guidance is absolutely valuable and often necessary. But here's the crucial truth. Your money will always matter more to you than it ever will to someone else. Even the most brilliant advisor doesn't wake up thinking about your financial security with the same intensity that you do. So while you might not manage everything yourself, you absolutely must understand exactly what's happening with your finances. When was the last time you asked questions about advice you didn't fully comprehend? The good news? Virtually anyone can learn to navigate their financial landscape. Financial literacy isn't reserved for those with business degrees or mathematical minds. It's accessible to everyone willing to invest time in understanding the basics. What's one financial concept you've been avoiding that you could learn about this week? If the thought of taking responsibility for your own money feels overwhelming or uninteresting, perhaps the simplest solution is keeping it in the bank. At least that way, you won't find yourself in the devastating position of being ripped off, financially broken, and pointing fingers at someone else for problems you could have prevented. Remember, delegating financial decisions doesn't mean delegating financial responsibility. What steps are you taking today to maintain control over your financial well-being? Let me tell you a personal investment story that might change how you think about financial news. Years ago, I invested roughly $2,000 in Apple stock. Over time, I sold half of my position, then trimmed it a bit more. But as I write this today, my remaining shares have grown to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Take a moment to consider, what long-term investment opportunity might you be overlooking right now? Had I been glued to financial news channels every day, frantically reacting to so-called expert opinions and daily market fluctuations, I would have undoubtedly sold all my shares long ago, and today I'd be kicking myself repeatedly for that costly mistake. How often do you find yourself making financial decisions based on the latest headlines or market noise? The path to building wealth is remarkably straightforward, though not always easy to follow. Invest in high-quality stocks and hold them for extended periods. The real challenge isn't finding these opportunities, it's having the discipline to stick with them through inevitable market turbulence. What's one quality investment you've been considering but haven't committed to yet? Conversely, if you're looking for a reliable way to experience regret, here's a foolproof method. Purchase excellent stocks, then hastily sell them at the first sign of trouble based on something you happen to see on television or read online. The constant stream of financial information isn't making us better investors. It's making us more reactive and often less successful. When was the last time you turned off the financial noise and simply trusted in the fundamentals of your investments? Sometimes the most valuable information is what you choose not to consume. What might change in your investment approach if you limited your exposure to daily market commentary? Whoever coined the phrase "time is money" fundamentally misunderstood what truly matters. Time is the one genuinely non-renewable resource you possess. Once your allotted time expires, that's it. There are no extensions, no second chances. Have you ever stopped to calculate how many hours of your life you've traded for things you no longer use or value? The real strategy for a fulfilling life is to maximize the portion of your limited time spent doing what brings you joy and purpose, rather than working for others doing what you must, simply to survive. Money isn't the end goal. It's the resource that grants you this freedom. When was the last time you evaluated whether your current financial decisions are moving you toward greater time freedom or further away? Consider this scenario. You visit the mall and spend $200 on new clothes. That's $200 that could have been invested instead. If that same amount had earned 12% compounded annually, in 30 years, it would grow to approximately $6,000. Setting aside inflation and assuming retirement living costs of $3,000 monthly, foregoing those clothes today effectively means retiring 2 months earlier. Does that perspective change how you might view your next discretionary purchase? Of course, clothing is a necessity. No one's suggesting otherwise. But perhaps you don't need $200 worth right now. Or maybe with some thoughtful shopping, you could acquire what you need for significantly less. What unnecessary expenses might be quietly stealing your future freedom? The choice is yours to make. More material possessions today or more liberated time tomorrow. Those who consistently choose immediate gratification often remain financially constrained. Those who strategically defer some pleasures often achieve financial independence. This isn't just about money. It's about reclaiming ownership of your life's most precious resource. Which path will you choose? And more importantly, what small decision could you make differently today that would buy back weeks or months of freedom in your future? And that's a wrap for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you never miss an upload. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time.